Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be here with you, getting into my weekly check-in. There's lots to go through. So I ended the month of August on the 26th and I started the new month on the 27th. And so because the weekend coming up was Labor Day weekend, and so I needed to kind of shift things around and make sure that I had a good end date. I had time to film. I had time to relax and enjoy my family for Labor Day weekend and go to a family reunion and come back. So we have several days in August that are part of September's budget as far as the spending categories go. And yeah, so I'm trying to keep it all track in my head and stay within budget. So we'll see how we do this month. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. This is my weekly check-in. I put all my transactions here on a calendar. This is actually August 27th through the 31st here, and then September 1st starts up here as it does in the regular calendar for this month. So like I said, I had to start early and track from there. Today is Friday the 6th. I do have groceries that I'm going to be picking up later, and I do have probably eating out for the weekend happening here as well. I typically do a Friday to Thursday, so the next weekly check-in I'll film here on Thursday and post it on Friday. That's typically how I work things. I will probably put our payday here on the 14th. I'll just do it a day early and post it on Saturday, and that'll work as well. So let's go ahead and dive into what I spent this past week during the holiday, as well as regular spending for the week in my weekly check-in. So I have written down all the different transactions that you see here, and we're going to start with the first category I always start with, which is this pink sticker, which is grocery household. GH stands for grocery household. I combined all mine together, and it just works well for me because if I'm going to shop, I'm going to buy it in one store or one online place, and that's it. I'm rarely dividing receipts unless I feel it's absolutely necessary. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Now, when I closed out August, and the last thing you saw, I had $95 left. That wasn't exactly what happened, and I'll just kind of show you what did happen at the end of August. Let me find the right page here, and I will show you my August paycheck 2 closeout. Paycheck 1 and paycheck 2. So down here, if you can see this, and I'll zoom in a little bit here. So down here, you see I had $98.14 left over. I knew I was going to be spending before the month ended on the 26th, so I had 2 more transactions. One was a $61.19 grocery household, which I had already planned, things that we needed for the trip and stuff coming up, and I was just kind of getting them prepared ahead of time and making sure I had some stuff available. And then a restaurant that was unexpected. So I kind of live in a rural area, not too rural, but I'm surrounded by cattle farms, and I'm surrounded by nature, and I'm surrounded by, a creek and woods and stuff like that. And a hatchling, very little hatchling snake invited itself into my home, which surprised me because I keep my home a constant 70 degrees. The upstairs gets too hot, and my husband overheats if I have the temperature above 70. So it's a medical thing for my husband, and then poor insulation upstairs, which hopefully in the future will get fixed. But there was also in my home, which is older, it was built in the 70s, probably a year or two before I was born, the weather stripping on like some of the doors, there's little gaps. And I have things covering it, but we just forgot about going back and putting new weather stripping in. And so my husband finally did that after this little snake decided to get in the house. Now, our front door is metal, and apparently it enjoyed this heat and the metal, but then when it found its way in the house, it was really cold, and it slowly slithered through the house. Once my oldest son found it, I actually had left to go to the store to get this stuff, and I turned around and came right back, and there I found the snake he was talking about. Now, the body of the snake was no bigger than the width of my pinky finger. It was not big. It was a hatchling. It was very little. If it bit us, it would have irritated us, but not been life-threatening. We wouldn't have had to gone to the hospital or anything like that. I would have gone just to make sure everything was okay, but I was not going to handle it, and I wasn't going to touch it. My husband is from this area, well, from Kentucky, and when he grew up, he handled snakes around the house, around the garden, and everything like that, so he was not afraid to kind of take care of that. Thankfully, it was an hour before he was leaving work, and I was just like, I'm leaving the house. I'm taking the boys. I'm going to my parents' house, and I will see you when you get back home tonight and after you get the snake out of the house. So that is the story with this eating out that we did not plan, because we stopped at Chick-fil-A on the way back home after my husband got the snake out of the house and picked up dinner, because by that point it was like 6 o'clock. It was getting late. I didn't want to, I was just not going to cook. So I went to Chick-fil-A, got everybody something to eat, and there was that. So we were $10.40 over because of a snake. It's just crazy. So anyways, I'm not going to show pictures. I actually have pictures of it. My husband has a little video of it. It was a little thing, but I'm just like, I was just creeped out. So that's how August ended. Now let's get back to September, where we're at today. So the first thing I have on the top of my list is this negative $10.40. This is what was left over on the credit card that I hadn't paid yet, based on the spending I had from the previous month. Now, no interest was charged on my credit card. I pay so much on it that, because I pay my credit card off weekly, that it satisfies whatever terms and agreements that we have with the credit card company. Where all our spending goes. I just put it all on a credit card and spend it and pay it off every week. And that works for us. So I have August overspent $10.40. I put it under grocery household. Even though the eating out's what pushed us over, grocery household is the category I kind of use when I need a little extra cash available in the other categories. I usually budget pretty high for that category. This month is $1,600 for the entire month for a family of 4 adults, and that's what we do. Now, I did do a split receipt here at Meijer. I bought 2 plant pots for our plants that I have. They're like little ivy plants, and it's the only plant I can take care of and not kill. I remember to water it every once in a while, and it doesn't need a lot of water or a lot of soil, but I wanted something new and pretty for it, because one of the pots broke, and the other one, it was just still sitting in the plastic container it came in, and then the other one, I still have the pot, but the matching one is gone now, so I broke that. It was terracotta. So I have a split here. So the grocery part of it was $42.71, and next I have, oh, here we go, Walmart. So by Friday, we were already in my husband's hometown, visiting his dad. My parents were already there, visiting my mom's family, and I had to run to Walmart to get a couple items. I'm trying to remember what we needed that we did not grab, but whatever it was $8.96. The next day, let's see, let's go ahead and check these off. I spent $2.68. I went back and got a loaf of bread because I realized I forgot a loaf of bread for sandwiches for the hotel room and for my sons. Next, I have BP over here, and the reason it says grocery for a gas station, it was the convenience store part of the BP, and I bought a bag of ice. Normally I would buy it at a grocery store, but I bought it at a BP gas station on my way to the family reunion. That was $2.39, and the next thing I have is $60.03. This was a handful of groceries when I came back from out of town. We needed milk. We needed, because I let some things also run out or close to running out, but and didn't buy, because milk is one of those things you want to buy as fresh as possible. Especially for us, we go through 6 gallons a week. between me and my sons and my husband. So there's a lot a lot of milk being drunk in the house for 4 adults. And so we definitely need to stay on top of that. And I didn't like the idea of buying more before I left. So I got milk and I got a handful of groceries, eggs, and other things, lunch stuff for my husband for the week, because Monday was Labor Day, so it was a day off, and so my husband didn't have to go to work that day. He went to work on Tuesday. And yeah, that's what we did there. And then I have here $42.30. So I'm going to total all of this up and see how much we have spent in grocery household. Not as much as I normally do in the first week, which I'm grateful for, because we still have 4 more weeks to go. I separated this into a 5-week month. Part of it is in August. The rest of it is all of September, except for the last 2 days. And that works out because my husband's payday is going to be on the 30th again, because the 1st is a Sunday and it needs the first full day, business day, in order to post. And usually my husband's checks come in on the 1st or the 30th, a couple days before the 1st. So I'm going to total this up and be right back. All right, $169.47 is what we spent here. And now moving on to the restaurants. So we did spend in restaurants. I had breakfast at Chick-fil-A one morning, and it was $7.73. The next one I have, we were out of town at this point, and even though we had stuff to make sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and ham sandwiches, my husband and I typically don't do that. We usually just go grab something, get something to eat, but our sons like to do sandwiches, so that's what we did there. Arby's for $25, and then Subway for $13.55. The reason we did Subway is because it was in the Walmart and I was buying a loaf of bread already. So I was like, my husband didn't want like a ham sandwich or anything like that. There was something else different he wanted. So we just got it at Subway and it turned out perfectly fine. The next thing we have is Casa Fiesta. So I think on that day, my husband was wanting to go out to eat that night and have a date night, because normally we do our date nights like on Friday and Saturdays, but we didn't have like alone date nights that weekend. It was all family time. So that was a little tough for us. So we went on date night on Tuesday when we got back, and that was $50.79 with included a $10 tip there. And then $35.36. So this was interesting. Didn't plan on eating out on Thursday, which was yesterday. But yesterday I had an opportunity to go to the movies with my dad. My dad just moved to the area. We grew up watching movies and going to movies together. And Beetlejuice has just come out. Today is the official day it's come out, but we got to see it yesterday, which was really cool. And our theater had it available. And while I was at the theater with my dad, I did do an earlier showing, but it was like over the time normally I would make dinner. My husband picked up dinner on the way home from work and fed himself and the boys. And then after my movie was over, I got dinner. So we have 2 Chick-fil-A purchases. One was my husband and our 2 adult sons, $35.36. And he did that while I was at the movie theater. And then when I got out of the theater, I went to Chick-fil-A myself, and $7.67 for my meal, and then I came home and ate dinner. But if you have not seen Beetlejuice and you loved the first one, the second one is just as good, and I loved it. I enjoyed watching all and finding all the little things that I remember from the first one. In fact, Wednesday my dad and I got together and watched the first one and then watched the second one, and they tied it in very beautifully. And I thought it was funny. I thought it was interesting. They got me a couple times. I did not see coming. Usually I can see things coming. I did not see these things coming, and it was a lot of fun. So if you enjoy that and you like things like that, then Beetlejuice is a good movie to go see. And it's a good movie to see at the theater. So I really did like that. And I loved all the trailers coming up for all the new movies. My favorite one, I think, trailer-wise, was Moana 2. And just all the graphics and just the colors and the islands and the blue and the water and all that stuff. If you liked Moana 1, I think you're going to like Moana 2. So I really think I might want to go see that one. And I think it's around Thanksgiving when that one's coming out. So check out your movies. It looks like a lot of fun. So I'm going to total these up and be right back. All right, we spent $140.10. Now we're moving on to the miscellaneous. I have 3 miscellaneous items. Again, this was a split receipt, so I bought 2 plant pots, and they were ceramic and glazed and really pretty, and they were pretty substantial. They were like that big in diameter and probably about that tall. So they were really good, and it'll be enough soil to really help these plants thrive and have plenty of space. The roots are kind of balled up right now, so I need to give it some breathing room. So I think I got a pot that would work for that. $26.78 were the pots, and then the next thing I have is Menards. Okay, so when the snake invited himself in the house, that we went to Menards here on Monday and pick up some weather stripping for the door. We got that front door taken care of. We got to do the back door and a couple other doors, but so far so good. We're doing really good on that. And because he came through the front door, now I know it's not going to come through the front door. And I had 2 rebates from previous purchases with Menards. If you go to Menards, they usually have this 11% rebate or some kind of rebate going on. I'm new to this. This is a new store. I don't know. I don't know much about it, but I did do the rebates. I had the rebates, and then we spent enough just over the rebate. So we got the weather stripping for 2 doors, and then we got this tarp to lay down in the flower bed area to keep the weeds under control and stuff like that. So the difference we had to pay was only $12.79. So that's why it was so little. We spent more than that, but I have no desire to keep going back to Menards frequently, so I probably won't do any more rebates unless I do something substantial, and we're doing a substantial project. So I didn't even keep that receipt. I didn't do a rebate on that one. I could have, but I have no desire. I have no desire. All right, so Thursday ticket. These are tickets for Thursday's movie that we went to, and it was $26.80 for 2 tickets at 3 p.m. I don't know if that's matinee or not, but that's what we spent. And I bought the tickets. My dad bought the snacks and the drinks, and that they cost exactly the same. I mean, pretty much to the penny. So it was an even trade. It worked out, but it's so expensive to go to the movies. Definitely expensive to go to the movies. All right. Total for these 3 items is $66.37. All right. Now, there were 2 gasoline purchases, one here on the 30th on our way out of town. Oop, I forgot to check that off. And I'm grabbing all the wrong things here. That was $65.03, and that's a full tank of gas for me. And then I drove 2.5 hours away, and we ended up needing to put in $43.88 to drive back home, back the 2.5 hours, so that wasn't too bad. And I haven't had to get gas since, so I still have like just below a half tank right now, so I should be okay for a little while. I might have to get gas somewhere around here, but we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully not. Hopefully I can hold out until next paycheck period, and that'll be fine. So the 2 gas purchases total, $65.03 plus $43.88, is $108.91. So there we go there. Now we have a copay for VisionWorks. Only one of us got new pair of glasses. The rest of us are doing okay. The lenses could be tweaked a little bit, but not drastic enough to really need new glasses. We can see fine out of the ones we got. So 3 of the 4 of us decided not to get glasses, and the 4th one needed them and needed to change what they have. My husband got new glasses, and he wanted different frames because the frames he's got's not really doing very well for him, and he was not happy with the blur between what do they call them? Bifocal lenses. So some people have the line, and then some people have like a gradual blur between, so it fades into one prescription to the other, and he wasn't handling that very well. So he wanted the line, and he wanted to see if that would work better. So that's why he got new glasses as well as the frames. He just wanted new frames, and the insurance covered definitely the exam and then most of the glasses, and all he had to pay left was $154.99 out of the rest of what he purchased. So the VisionWorks, and I put it under copay because I added more money to copay in order to cover this, because I didn't want to leave this sitting on the credit card. We didn't know how much we were going to spend. We didn't know if we were going to get new glasses. So we were just trying to decide, okay, what do we do here? And this is what we came up with, and I'll show you that here in a second. Now, I did have some bills. Now, these are all the spending that went on the credit card, and then there are a few bills that went on the credit card. So $95.06, which is God's Outreach Food Pantry, $88, which is the Pregnancy Help Center, and then my husband's music subscription, $10.59, and then our Spectrum. That might change. On the 13th of this month, I want to make some changes, so I will let you know what happens, but this is what we're going through right now. So $174 is that one, and that is all that went on the credit card. These don't go on the credit card, Tithe doesn't go on the credit card, and these haven't happened yet, so we are here. So that is that. Let's total up how much the bills were for this time period, this first week of September. All right, so we spent $367.65. Okay. Now I have all the numbers I need to know to pay back the credit card, as well as what we spent in our sinking fund, or not sinking funds, Lord, our weekly check-in spending categories. So here is my weekly check-in. I'm just going to kind of fold it like this. I do have notes here where I have 5 weeks, and per week is and for adults, and did $1,600, $500, $300, $250, and $150. I gave myself estimates per week, just to kind of keep an eye on, and then as you can see, I added another $40 to copay to give me a total of $190 to cover the expenses of the glasses, and then still have $35 left over to cover any prescriptions that we need in the middle of the month that happen every month. So I gave myself $2,800 plus the 40, so $2,840. That's about, let's see, 40, $2,840, because I added $40 divided by 5. There we go. So that gives me $568 per week. So just a little bit more money per week, but that is not exactly how spending actually flows. So we're going to start from the beginning. I've not paid the credit card yet, so I'm not going to check anything off, but I need to take this out. My notebook is so thick. Look at how thick that is. And it's all stickers and stuff like that. So let me pop this out. Okay, that's better. It lays down more flat, and I'm happy with that. So 1,600 is what we're beginning with, and I'm going to subtract down. I find I am enjoying the fact that I don't see as many negative numbers until the end of the month if necessary. So that I have enjoyed, because I know I have all this cash coming in, and it's kind of set automatically every month, and it's just a flow that I have. So if you know what's happening at the beginning, whatever week or paycheck period, you can just subtract down from there, and it may be less stressful doing it that way. Sometimes you need to give yourself just boundaries for the 1 week, though. I'm not sure if I want to go back to that, but I used to do it that way. So $1,600, I spent $169.47, and then I'll do the math later. So I'm just going to write all these numbers down. 140.10, 66.37. That did not erase well. There we go. All right, and then gasoline was 108.91, and copay was 154.99, and no one budgeted. I'm gonna put 0 for now. Let me go back to the calendar. The bills have nothing to do with the weekly check-in. It has everything to do with paying the credit card back. So we'll get to that after I finish the weekly check-in. But you probably noticed, I don't know if you did or not, over here I have fare filled in $247.58. That was for the hotel stay. It was 2 rooms, 2 nights per room, so it was 4 nights total. So I had enough points in my fare filled in reward system to get 2 free nights for me and my husband in our room, but I had to pay for my son's rooms, and that was the total for their rooms. So I didn't have I was so close to having enough points for their rooms too and having a whole free weekend, but I didn't. So I did have to pay for that. I have not figured out how I'm going to do it, so I have this little unbudgeted stickers hanging out over here until the day my husband and I figure out how we're going to pay for it. We're hoping that we can kind of have enough in the buffer after all the spending's done for the month to pay some of it or all of it. Some of it may come from sinking funds. I have not decided yet. That's why it's sitting over here. So let's go back to the weekly check-in part. And let's do the math for this. 1,600 minus the 169.47. That gives us $1,430.53. Okay, so the next one we have is $500 for restaurants minus 140.10, and that leaves $359.90. $300 in miscellaneous minus the 66.37. That left us $233.63 for the rest of the month. And then gasoline, $250 minus the 108.91. That leaves us $141.09. Getting sloppy here. All right. And then the 190 minus 154.99 for copay. That leaves us $35.01. We're doing 0 for unbudgeted, even though we did charge unbudgeted. I have not paid it, and this means these are the things I'm paying. And so once I figure that out, I will put it under whatever week I do it. I'm just letting this sit on the credit card until I make a decision. It's a great way of having a holding pattern for small decisions like this. And by the end of the month, I always pay it. It usually comes out of savings as a last resort, but sometimes I can make it work in the budget itself. Especially now that my husband has a little bit of a pay raise, there might be some wiggle room. I don't know, not a lot to cover all of it, but a little bit of it. So we'll see how it turns out, if my spending categories can cover it or not. But we won't know that until the end of the month. And the hard part, it's a 5-week month, so I have to stretch the dollar a little bit more this month than I normally do. So how much do I owe the credit card? So here are the totals. Let's total all of these up. Move this off to the side for a minute and find out how much I have to pay the credit card. So I have $169.47 plus the $140.10 and the $66.37, $108.91, $154.99, and the $367.65. So in all, total, I need to pay to get my credit card back to zero, $1,007.49. I take that back, not back to zero. I'm paying everything except for the hotel charge. So there will still be that $200 charge on the credit card left, and this pays everything else until I can get that other one paid. So that's where I'm at right now. That is the weekly check-in, and things are looking pretty good. I'll be making this payment after I'm done filming, and yeah. That is what our spending has been this past week. It's a lot of spending, holiday stuff, taking care of everything for the month, and having this $247 still left on the credit card. Doesn't make me feel good, which is a good thing because it makes me be creative on what we're spending and how much we're spending and how can we get rid of this and make sure it gets paid. So I do like that. But yeah, that is our spending for this time period, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.
As a young girl, it feels we're mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free.